Welcome back to the penultimate game of North America in Week 9. We're going to be bringing you some of the best action North America has to offer this week. To be fair, this was close to Game of the Week in Cloud9 versus TSM.
I mean, it was either that or Paradigm Fnatic, and both these two matches draw a lot of parallels, you know? Fnatic and Paradigm, they've been at it since the launch tournament, going 10-10 against each other. Same with Team Solo Mid and Cloud9, going at each other's throats really since after the launch tournament when Cogred first formed, and now have become Team Solo Mid 11-10 currently in TSM's favor.
What a rocky situation for both these two teams that split. They've not had it easy so far, and normally we'd expect to see them around the 2-3 spot. Well, at the moment, they're in the 3-4 spot at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the quick look at North America and where everyone's sitting right now. Team Solo Mid currently, I believe, 4th, and Cloud9 sitting one win above them, 14-10. And Cloud9, they had a lot of struggles earlier on, losing some games, unfortunately, due to factors out of their control, but have had a really nice rebound, currently sitting in 3rd.
Had a rebound, but when you look at the last 4 sets, both these two teams have played 6-2 is the record for Cloud9 after playing Elevate, Cog, Eager, and Denial. And across the way, TSM sat at 5-3 after facing off against Enemy, Envy, Cog, and Elevate. So with those two lineups, you can see the win ratio that they've had. They're winning most of the games, but it's not as high as they'd like it to be.
And it's not really as one-sided as we have formerly seen for these teams where they really controlled North America. Even the mid teams, right? It was really the TSM versus C9 kind of show, and then everyone else was just trying to become as good as them. Envy has done a nice job so far in Season 2 to really rise and meet that expectation. But even Enemy, you know, taking a game off Cloud9 earlier in the split, and, you know, these teams now, Eager as well, these teams are back and forth. It is not a clearly two-team North American region.
And here's the biggest issue for these boys. As we look at the TSM profile here, both these teams went to World Championships to represent North America. And both these teams are struggling to find a buy to get into the shop for it.
TSM, the faces you see on screen, were 3rd at last year's SWC, although a new face to the scene, bchm taking over for Divios, who was released from the team only a couple weeks ago. We've seen bchm come in and have some really nice games, most notably on Sobek, although we haven't really seen too much of his god pool as he hasn't played that many games. But so far, it seems that he's fitting into this roster nicely. Also, TheBoosh, having quit, I believe, in the 4th or 5th week, has made his return after Team Solo Mid really started to struggle.
So they switched out Boosh, brought the boy Snoopy into the mid lane. Snoopy didn't want to play Hunter anymore. Obviously, he was bored of it. Just after we started giving him all the credit he deserved for all his Hunter work he's been putting in.
Right?
And then he's like, oh, I've got to go back to
Snoopy was the guy that everyone's like, man, he's like, he's silently like one of the best hunters in the world. We never really talk about him. You know, DaGarz and Eonic, they get all the credit for the team, or TheBoosh, and he's kind of just overshadowed for how good he is. And then coming out of the summer finals, everyone's like, Snoopy is, if not the best player on this team, or if not the best player in the world, right, one of the best players in the world. And it's like, oh, well, I'm done playing Hunter now.
Let's have a look at the other opposition today, the Cloud9 roster. And it's a tale of the two solo laners for me, because they've both had role swaps this season.
bchm most recently coming in the past couple weeks to fill in for Divios. Baskin coming in at the beginning of the fall split to fill in for Omega, who left for Eager. Baskin, though, you know, he's done a nice job. And actually, BaRRaCCuDDa, he was on the interview just earlier on. And, you know, I think he said it right. He said, you know, our style at the beginning of the fall split really started to adapt into the AFK, now Envy style, where they would camp the soul lane. And a lot of it was just getting Baskin confident about his own play.
Completely true. And now as the seasons progress, well, they need to have more than one style available to them, because as the season progresses, if you do the same thing over and over again, people are going to find you out and work out how to defeat you. Especially
coming into LAN, you definitely need to have multiple strategies in your back pocket. Cloud9, I think, really are that team that has developed a couple different styles there, but a lot of times they do play a very meta-based game, but so do Team Solo Mid. Well, both these teams, obviously 3rd and 4th seed right now, they both want to win here. Take into account that if the standings are anything to go by the SPL right now, that this could be the matchup that we see at the Super Regionals for the team that's going to be in the wildcard match. So for me right now, it's really about who could be 3rd seed. And I think if either of these teams come out ahead with a 2-0, they are the clear 3rd seed outside of some major hiccups in the final week. If it's a 1-1, it's still a little bit contentious heading into the final week here. But both teams, it's kind of who's going to be on Eager's side of the bracket, who's going to be on Envy's side of the bracket for me.
Hashtag don't be fourth in this situation is the big key here. If you're fourth, you're going to be on the side of envy. But I think both teams will be able to relish that opportunity. They're good enough teams to fight off. Let's go into picks and bans and see exactly how these two teams are going to line up in game one. Records, Cloud9 14 and 10, TSM 13 and 11. 2 wins to either of these will give them a clear third place.
Cloud9 wasting no time. I was talking about this the past couple times I've watched Team Solo Mid. bchm, fantastic on Sobek, but the question is, how deep is his god pool? Are his other gods Team Solo Mid level?
Wait, is that a wise ban though?
That's the thing.
Because
this is where you test the waters.
Your first pick. No, but your first pick, right? So you get 1 priority pick, and TSM get 2 priority picks, which means that ban being focused on a Sobek there.
This is the thing. They truly believe that bchm right now is the player that they need to focus out, and taking away his most comfortable pick, Cloud9 think that that is the key to their success. There are still picks that they'll be able to grab as well. Hell going to be taken away from Cloud9 though right away.
And I feel the Hell one there just continues what I was saying there about the fact that TSM should be able to get 2 priority picks off this situation. But Giannis being taken off the table, I think Cloud9 will be looking for Sun Wukong here.
Sun Wukong on a Baskin, I think, is more than likely what they'll target. We've seen that a lot. Serqet, I don't know. Serqet does very well against Sun Wukong because you can actually immune the healing he gets in his Cloud. But we'll have to see here. Last ban coming through for Team Solo Mid. Could be Serqet, could be Wukong, kind of... what does Team Solo Mid want to leave open? Khepri also available. Team Solo Mid, we know they love that. So will JeffHindla elect to pick up that Khepri? That's the question here.
Khepri and Serqet are the top 2 that are available right now for Cloud9 to look to. Which one will they go for? If either, will they look elsewhere in their god pools for something? Neath is available, but that's a European thing. Serqet for andinster is the call.
Here's the thing for me, though. Ao Kuang and Thanatos are available, but if you're first picking Serqet, you're guaranteeing that you don't have those execute options against a Khepri if that's what Team Solo Mid elect to go here.
So you're looking for, would you see TSM go Khepri here for Eonic and then maybe show up the warrior, the solo laner early, or just leave it for now?
I think it's going to be a support, right? I don't know 100% know if it's going to be Khepri though. Cloud9 more than likely going to be drafting Geb in this situation if that's left open. I really see Geb being a pick here. Otherwise, Team Solo Mid going to ban that away from Jeff. We know Cloud9 really respect that Geb pick.
Well, maybe Geb. I mean, we've seen a lot of Sobek out of JeffHindla this season as well, but you can't pick it now with it being banned out. Yeah, so maybe they will look for Geb at this opportunity for them. Hou Yi, though, high priority pick.
Yeah, I'm really surprised to see it picked up this early. I mean, Snoopy, don't get me wrong, is one of, if not the best hunters in Smite right now, but to see it picked up this early, not something you see too often. It's not going to be Geb, though. I was wrong. We will see Athena locked in for JeffHindla, and MLC Stealth bringing out his... famous Zhong, although we haven't seen it in quite some time on him.
I think he played it the other week.
Did he play it in that game?
I believe so.
Okay, never mind.
So he's played it once or twice. I think he first brought it out against Cog, and then last week he brought it out as well. So he's starting to come back to it. I think all the players in mid lane.
Oh yeah, everyone's at least experimenting with it.
And now it's back over to TSM for their next choice. It will be the Geb. Is that a Khepri jungle again?
I don't know. That does not seem like a DaGarz god, right? Weekend playing Khepri, it's crazy, but I can understand it. DaGarz playing Khepri, not so much. I think we'll see it in solo more than anything.
I was going to say solo. Which one?
bchm? Khepri?
Geb
I think Khepri. I think Khepri. A little bit safer is Khepri, and I think they want to make sure that bchm will have something that he's not going to get focused out against too much, especially against Serqet, because you could be guaranteed andinster will put a lot of focus onto whatever bchm rolls in that solo lane.
I like the firing shots of JeffHindla there against Cloud9's bow, because we've seen multiple times this split that BaRRaCCuDDa's defaulted to JeffHindla for the majority of games. He's had very good performances in it too, so take that away from him and make him think a little bit hard about where he's going to go here.
Pick coming through for Team Solo Mid. Thor is still available, but see, here I like Thor, but I don't necessarily know about in this situation. Cloud9, you take a look, they have the taunt from Serqet, they have the taunt from Athena, and they also have Zhong's Book of Demons that's going to be able to stun out DaGarz. They have a lot of options to deal with Thor on the side of Cloud9.
You kind of telegraphing as well that Khepri's probably going to go solo lane now as well by picking up the Thor there. They already knew that Serqet was locked in, so they don't have to worry too much about a jungler being taken away there, but they still want to give this last pick availability more than likely to BaRRaCCuDDa, unless BaRRaCCuDDa is playing Khepri mid.
I don't think so. I mean, he could, right? But I really don't think so.
Actually, Khepri versus Zhong could be a very interesting match with the mid lane.
I have no idea how that goes. I've never seen that. Bellona going to be picked in for solo. Paulo here going to be locked in. That's going to be going to BaRRaCCuDDa. So a lot of mobility coming out from Cloud9 outside of, realistically, Zhong. I expect to see Baskin have a teleport at some point in this game.
Yeah, more than likely, especially with the opportunities being available to him. What will be the last pick for TSM, though, to round out this composition this time round?
Historically, it's going to be an Agni. Based on what BaRRaCCuDDa almost always defaults
fair, I think
to.
Since we announced it, we've not seen
Poseidon.
much Agni out of him. Okay. I was going to say, when we mentioned it on air that he's played Agni so much, he stopped playing Agni.
It was, his first game back, he played 2 Agni games. Disgusting. They lost, but yeah.
We mentioned it, and then all of a sudden he stopped playing. I'm not sure whether it was us. I'm not trying to take credit for
I think BaRRaCCuDDa kind of is just plays whatever he feels like a lot of times.
Maybe that's the case.
Poseidon, though, matches up very well against Serqet and Zhong. Both of those, Serqet locks out 2 of her abilities with the cripple. Zhong has no movement abilities, no repositioning abilities, has no escape. He'll be forced to beat the Whirlpool, especially if we see an early gem of isolation coming out from the BaRRaCCuDDa. The one thing I'm a little bit worried here on Team Solo Mid is the lack of burst if if you can avoid the Kraken damage, because then a lot of the damage will come down to Snoopy.
Into the game we go, though, between Cloud9 and TSM. Best of 2 as always. They've not played each other so far. They're split, so this will be their first look at each other in a competitive standpoint behind scrim practices that may have gone on. One thing to note as well during this game, DaGarz on that Thor. He's currently at 397 confirmed kills in the SPL this split.
No, that's not from this split. That's from all time.
All time.
Season 1 and Season 2, he has the most kills of any player in Smite.
So 3 more, though, and he hits that magical 400 number.
That's not mad. I wish we did that for 500. 500 sounds better.
Maybe we do it for 500 too.
Still, 400's a lot. And he's actually like 20 or 30 above the next highest. And I believe BaRRaCCuDDa is on there, and I think Snoopy as well.
And Garz, though, to be fair to him, he's on his classic God to try and do this.
Oh, yeah.
He probably started off his career with the Thor, and he's going to be...
I wonder, what was his first game on the Cognitive Red in Season 1? I kind of want to go back and watch that now.
It's probably Thor.
Probably. That was when it was like DaGarz banned out every game.
Thor's been around forever. So, we do see Khepri solo lane. Talk to me about Khepri solo. Because you were mentioning it that it was probably going to go there, and I was like, okay, but...
So the big thing about Khepri is that he has 3 abilities that can clear the wave. So unlike other Guardians where he's going to have a little bit of trouble, he has multiple options. His dash can actually go through minions. He has the root on the Blessing, and then he also has Rising Dawn, which does a significant amount of damage over the 3 seconds that it lasts.
But he's only really got 2, though, because you don't really want to use Abduct and then have
no
escape.
But you have the option, right, early on at the very least.
Look at that aggression from Snoopy and Nick early on, trying to put the beat down on BaRRaCCuDDa and Jeff and push them early on in this game under the tower. And one of the reasons you see that is because of Hou-Yi's early game in the jungle clear, right?
Early game, Hou-Yi used to have some problems, but now that his Ricochet is on a 10-second cooldown, he doesn't really have to worry about that too much. We'll see Team Solo Mid more than likely control this lane. Unless they get too poked out. I don't think that's going to happen.
At mid lane, we see Serqet and Zhong up against the Poseidon and Thor combination. Pretty relatively even in terms of trade. I guess, obviously, with the Poseidon, the push power is a little bit stronger on the side of TSM for the start of the game.
I give that, for kill potential, I really give it to Team Solo Mid more than anything.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Serqet does a lot of damage, but the fact that as long as BaRRaCCuDDa holds his Whirlpool to cripple out Serqet if she jumps on him, andinster just needs to make sure not to fight this. He just doesn't have enough damage to match up against the Thor early on.
Cloud9 do have the pressure on top. Comes out onto Snoopy, but immediately Eonic responds with a shield there. Right-hand side, you can see that Baskin pushed up on this Bellona once more, just keeping bchm busy over in that solo lane.
bchm has 0 kill potential, right? Unless Baskin throws away his life intentionally, he's never going to 1v1 Baskin. This pick is solely for team fighting.
Yeah, there's no way bchm can find a kill here.
His ultimate does no damage. His abilities, while they do damage to help clear the wave, they don't do a lot of burst against enemies, and especially not against a Bellona.
Isn't that a risky thing, though, to put something in the lane that you can't get a kill on? Get a kill with?
There's a lot of times that, not only players, but God matchups are, unless the player messes up, I'm not getting a kill. It's kind of just about farming and focusing on the team fight more than anything. I want to go back to Paradigm versus Fnatic earlier on. We saw Xaylia, elect not to go Mystical Male in either of the solo lane matchups, which means he had very little kill potential against the Shock or Maniac, whatever he was running, who had the kill potential with the Mystical Male. And he was just kind of farming. He picked up Male Renewal because he wanted to focus on team fights.
I like what Jeff did here as well on the support at the beginning of the game. Didn't go for boots, went straight for an Aegis. He's gonna have to deal with Krakens.
I love it.
Has to deal with Kraken, so it's important that he can survive.
A lot of times, we talked about it, how we're starting to see a lot of these beads picked up on supports to make sure they don't get picked early, and this is filling that same niche role where you don't want to get picked because more than likely the plan for Team Solo Mid is to lock you down with Poseidon.
These guys go back a long time. What was the record you said between
11 to 10 in Team Solo Mid's favor, I believe.
11 to 10. Well, there's a chance for Cloud9 to take over that record then, I guess, today, but at the same time, TSM to continue extending it, possibly. We did see BaRRaCCuDDa go back to base there, pick up tier 2 boots and beads a little bit earlier on, so well aware of the presence of andinster on this Serqet that could be a big impact in the mid lane.
andinster making an early rotation over to the dual lane. See if Snoopy can smell this one out. I like his positioning. You can see he's actually sitting away from the jungle, but he doesn't know about this gank coming through.
Athena's coming in as well. They're going to push him back towards BaRRaCCuDDa, but you can see the leap away. Snoopy going for the jungle for the support of Eonic. The shield came out. The knockup is good. The Suns are doing damage. Snoopy will survive. The dunk in from DaGarz will pick up one. Actually, 2 kills there.
How did he survive that?
Came out too.
Snoopy was so low. The shield from Eonic, he used it more for just Snoopy to tank. You actually saw the taunt held by Athena for just that half a second. Still, though, Cloud9 not able to lock it down, and huge rotations coming from Team Solo Mid. DaGarz and TheBoosh making sure to keep Snoopy alive. They're able to pick up andinster for first blood and follow it up with an extra kill onto JeffHindla.
Oh, and you give 2 kills over to DaGarz. He only needs 1
Oh,
more.
they
now
went to
hit the
DaGarz
400
too.
As well. DaGarz in the jungle.
He's
early
got
on.
beads 1 and boots 3 online at 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Thank you so much, he says. But to be fair, Snoopy gets picked, realizes instead of going back to his tower where he could have potentially still died, he rotates to the jungle where his support was coming from. Gets the shield. Eonic's knock up there that followed it was the biggest thing in that, more than the shield for me, just to make sure he got out.
That's the experience of Team Solo Mid. They know to stay calm during those dire situations. A lot of teams, a lot of players will panic in there and kind of just run to their tower trying to stay alive. Snoopy recognizes that Eonic's rotating in through the jungle, that is the fastest path for him to have a chance at living, or to at least bait Cloud9 into the pivot point. So even if they got Snoopy, Team Solo Mid still would have picked up those 2 kills. Even if Snoopy died there.
In the end, Snoopy didn't die, and now you can see he's under pressure again. There's no support coming this time round, though, Snoopy. You're going to have to fight this one alone. The minions are doing good work for you, but the poison will tick enough for andinster to find the kill. That's
twice now that we've seen andinster go over onto this dual lane. And I talked about early, right, where andinster would more than likely focus the soul lane, but against the Khepri, it's so hard to really commit that much into someone who can revive themselves. Instead, focused on getting BaRRaCCuDDa ahead and locking down one of the key carries for Team Solo Mid, because they have this super tanky team, but a lot of the damage is centered around Poseidon and Yi.
And that's a point, right? Because if everybody on the side of Cloud9 buys an Aegis, for example, then Kraken shouldn't really be a threat.
It's going to be very hard for Team Solo Mid.
In Cloud9's eyes, it should be, let's all get an Aegis, and then let's all focus Snoopy every single team fight, and we've only got to deal with 2 Guardians.
That's the idea, but the longer the fights go, you could still Team Solo Mid slowly poke down Cloud9. A lot of the team fights are going to be make sure to protect Snoopy and TheBoosh.
There's also one thing to take into account as well now, is that we gave DaGarz 2 kills early, which is not what they wanted, to have him as a threat, an additional one. Not just because you bring probably a CC and confusion to the team, but his damage is going to go up.
Thor's burst, we're talking about this in late game scenarios. Now, early game, GaRZ is going to be a monster. Honestly, for the first 20 to 25 minutes before his damage starts plateauing, and then you start to see really Serqet kind of taking over in the burst department.
Look at the positioning. Blink, Cataclysm comes out.
Thor
They know
in the air.
aggression is still coming. Eonic chasing.
They're focusing Jeff.
But Apollo is still fine. BaRRaCCuDDa didn't panic. He's still not panicking. Just a good mez. Walks away, didn't use his beads, didn't use his... Well, he didn't have his ultimate, but he didn't panic at all.
Double rotation coming from both teams. You can see TheBoosh, though, get cut off by Stealth and andinster as they walk over the wards. TheBoosh heading back to the mid lane. And, both these teams, you know, they do not panic in these scenarios. Boosh getting focused down, forced to beats, under tower. There's the Kraken.
Kraken didn't really connect as much as he would have liked to, but that will be enough damage. Just about. Archers paying dividends for the boy in the mid lane. And I see Stealth did get the turnaround kill, though, which helps out with a Zhong against the Poseidon.
Oh, 1-for-1, TheBoosh going to take a trip back to base, but he did find a return kill in andinster. I'd say that's close to even, although andinster is sitting at level 8 right now compared to DaGarz's 9, who's going to be farming the entire time he's dead. Has to be a little bit worried.
Baskin's going to be a little bit worried now. He stole away the blue buff by the looks of it, but DaGarz is here holding on to his abilities for the most part here. Baskin going to turn around and give him a nice big bludgeon to the back of his head.
You see Baskin, though, still scared of the damage that Khepri can output, making sure not to take too much poke from the Rising Dawn there.
But he did get the blue buff, which is a good key.
Yes.
A good key importance. Deny bchm the blue buff wherever possible. Try and reduce the amount
bchm has teleport 1 up. He'll be fine more than likely. Almost finishing Breastplate of Valor as well. Next back, he's going to have that extra 550 mana on that item.
That's also cooldown. That's max
CDR,
cooldown reduction.
early
which
on.
Is on a Khepri. That could make a big impact in the fights. Lower cooldown on Abducts, lower cooldown on the Roots, and then you've still got the protection buff.
For me, it's Rising Dawn, right? It's the fact that Rising Dawn is on a 10-second cooldown at base. Max CDR, 40%. It's now on a 6-second cooldown. And the damage reduction is 40% for 3 seconds. So 3 seconds of 40% damage reduction, 3 seconds of an open window. It's so powerful and it's so useful in extended engagements, which is what Team Solo Mid is really focusing on. They have a Geb, they have a Khepri, they have a Thor who has a lot of mobility. Same with TheBoosh, Poseidon, a lot of base movement speed, and Snoopy has some escapes as well. So Team Solo Mid really want fights to go on for a long period of time.
So funny when you actually look at the two support players here as well. They give so much respect to each opposition, expecting to be focused as a support player. That they both went for the reinforced Greaves this game.
They both have almost identical builds outside of Eonic having that blink and then JeffHindla needing the Aegis for the Kraken.
They know they're going to get focused. They expect that the enemy team should try and pick on them as a potential weak link. Not necessarily they are the weakest link or people think of them as that, but sometimes the support is one of the easiest gods to pick out.
For early on, I mean, supports are not tanky at all, despite, what a lot of people think. They have, an extra 100 base health and a couple of protections, but it's nothing severe for the first 5 to 10 levels. It's really once they get their first protection or item online or two, and that's why we've actually seen a lot of supports. This isn't just this game. We started to see a lot of supports start to pick up the tank boots.
And it's quite interesting that we're now seeing every single boot being used in
different scenarios, too.
Taloria not as much anymore. He's starting to drift off a little bit, but we start to see Shoes of Focus, Shoes of the Magi, and Reinforced.
Support players, I think, are starting to better share experience, or teams are starting to better share experience. Give them to the support. Big rotation coming out from Team Solo Mid, though. You saw both TheBoosh and DaGarz sitting at their own attack speed buff on the left-hand side, trying to catch JeffHindla and BaRRaCCuDDa caught up.
Look at what's happening with TSM there. You saw that deep ward just placed by Eonic there. It's cut off another avenue where andinster could end up rotating around to this duo lane. They realized Cloud9's game plan of trying to focus Snoopy in the early stages and pin him down. Well, let's double coverage on the ward option to make sure he's very, very safe there.
It also allows Snoopy to be incredibly aggressive without much worry. He's going to know every single time andinster's even in the left-hand side jungle. Stealth might be a little pushed up here, actually very pushed up. Needs to be careful. He's actually caught off because of that whirlpool.
But now he's going to take a little bit of poke, not too much. The wall is good. Blink Cataclysm follows up. Knock up as well. Suns are raining down the wall. He's pinning him in place for the Kraken to connect as well. Snoopy gets one kill on the backside though. andinster still trying to go aggressive as DaGarz dunks in. Didn't find the stun though is the big key there. Baskin's going to get out of mid lane as well. But look at this. On the left-hand side, Snoopy getting aggressive. Looking for Jeff.
Oh, the wall, JeffHindla, he's caught in place. DaGarz finds the kill. Team Solo Mid find 2. And that all came from Stealth. Super pushed up, had no vision on anyone. And DaGarz finds his 400th kill in the Smite Pro League.
Is there a ballooning game? Do we have a balloon just to
pop
400?
Someone, I really wish DaGarz had the firework emote there. He would have known it's his 400th and he just pops it.
That'd be good. Although the firework in the game, let's be honest, is not the greatest.
Oh my god, did you see that? That was a double bounce.
Hi, Snoopy. So I think Snoopy's still like, did I just do that? Did that really just, well...
BaRRaCCuDDa waited 2 seconds and then dashed away.
Ooh,
that's
he misses the damage from
the get turned off. Ricochet's on a 10-second cooldown. That's probably up. Yeah, nice stun. Eonic's rotated in. andinster should have Deathbane here in a second. BaRRaCCuDDa here as well. And
it's okay.
It's going to be disengaged, but I mean...
5 seconds. So.
Snoopy, come on, man, with that double bounce.
That double bounce. If he finds it again...
He tries. That's only a single bounce.
Yeah, if I was a double again, I mean, you cannot up to triple, right? You can't go past triple?
No, it's triple.
Only triple. But even then,
what if you do like unlimited bounces, right? As long as it just keeps hitting walls.
Just go on forever.
What would happen is someone would find a spot where you could just do it back and forth nonstop.
Just cut off half the map purposely all the time. Guardians have to walk in it just to soak it. Like, okay, fine.
You got to get your block stack up on Bellona and Athena.
But that play from TSM around those left-hand harpies, it was Stealth that was the aggressive one there.
That was Stealth out of position more than anything. And honestly, full credit for TheBoosh because he didn't put the whirlpool onto Stealth. He put it behind him so he would be cut off from getting to his team. And same with Athena. Athena wouldn't be able to dash through the whirlpool to help save Stealth.
And bchm and Baskin did both rotate to that fight as well. And so it made it even more difficult for Cloud9 to try and answer back once bchm got there with that ultimate.
The second that Khepri is in the fight, if you don't have the burst to take out at least 2 people, you realistically should not be fighting.
I just realized one thing that we've not really seen much of is a Khepri with a Zhong combo.
Yeah.
That would be pretty disgusting.
Yeah. And a Geb, right? What if instead of Poseidon it was Zhong? That'd be dirty.
Pretty tasty. TSM though 5-2
Can we
favorites at the moment. They're looking at the Gold Fury here. It looks like with Snoopy rotating there, but I think it's just more for ward coverage. What do you want to take a look at?
Never mind.
You've changed your mind.
Wrong. I was wrong about something.
You got excited.
I saw Baskin up at bcm's blue, so I thought he was trying to steal it away, but it's not spawning for about a minute and a half, so the timing was a little bit off there.
Two supports still identical. JeffHindla and Eonic, same builds. Only difference is the actives based on the enemy team that they're against, but so far so good for both of them, although Jeff has fallen twice.
This is what we'll see for the most part. The question is what their third item is going to be. Some players will go straight into the Heart World, but now we're starting to see a little bit of deviation depending on the matchups. We could potentially see Winged Blade. We could see Mail of Renewals. There's multiple options.
Snoopy just spotted andinster there. He's going to take
up.
a little bit of poke.
He has beads.
He's going to get forced away. Actually does beads and leap, but he's still going to get chased down here. Eonic blinks in to try and shield, but can't get there in time. But Eonic, so he does manage to find a good knock-up after DaGarz dunks down. BaRRaCCuDDa might be able to trade out another kill here as well. Khepri all the way over here is trying to pin away Apollo. Jeff's going to fall down. And then once again, TSM respond.
How did BaRRaCCuDDa get that kill? I'm actually confused on how he got that kill. I think an Archer hit it. So Gar's auto got blocked, and then BaRRaCCuDDa had happened to last hit him, and the Archer finished him off. Stealth getting chased out of here. Team still in mid. Looks like they don't want to set up the Gold Fury. Still a little bit too risky with 3 members of Cloud9 alive. Oh, nice abduct on a Baskin. Kraken coming through. He is pretty tanky, though. His ultimate is up. Electing to use it, but it was a little bit late. He should be fine. Stealth coming through using his ultimate, but it's 1v4.
I think MLC's in a lot of trouble here. You're going to call what BaRRaCCuDDa needs to support him right now. The Whirlpool's going to pin off one route of escape, but now BaRRaCCuDDa's caught out. Has to use the moves to disengage. Exorcism and Aegis by MLC Stealth to stay alive a little bit more. TSM are fighting so well together as a unit.
They are playing as a team right now. Cloud9 though able to fight back into that 1v4 and even 2v4 as Baskin was forced out, and then we actually saw BaRRaCCuDDa rotate in. So Cloud9 still making sure this game isn't super one-sided. Only a 1,500 goal lead for Team Solo Mid, but Team Solo Mid right now, the rotations are on point. bcm teleporting in from the solo lane. DaGarz of course with that global ultimate, and TheBoosh, a lot of movement speed on Poseidon at base. Look at this bait though.
Is it a good bait? No, they know about it. Andinster just gave the game away. They're going to Whirlpool him too. The Gold Fury has been started, but Team Solo Mid, look at it. bcm, the first one round the corner.
Only Cataclysm down on Team Solo Mid.
And meanwhile, across the way, you can see Baskin doesn't have Eagle's Rally just yet, and Stealth hasn't got that big Recall Demon's ultimate.
Looks like Cloud9 just trying to bait one player to come check it out. Not going to happen, though. Team Solo Mid looked like they were rotating to Gold Fury, but nothing going to come from that. bcm not heading back to his soul lane. andinster, though, heading back to the dual lane. Misses both of his abilities. Throws Snoopy, though, into BaRRaCCuDDa. That last breath might be enough. There comes the Gap Shield. Snoopy's fighting!
He's going to have to fight because it's the only way he's going to stay alive. Gar's in the sky looking for Andy potentially. Yes, he'll find the dunk onto him, but can Andy get out? No, he will not. Kraken on the backside. Looking for BaRRaCCuDDa, but BaRRaCCuDDa does get out of the fight in time.
1-for-1 trade, back and forth once again. andinster makes, I believe, his 4th, if not 5th trip over to this dual lane. All this attention to the dual lane. Snoopy's sitting at 1-3, but he's actually 100 gold ahead of the 1-0-1 BaRRaCCuDDa.
How is that possible?
I guess because Snoopy's doing damage and then getting the assist off the deaths.
Well, still
at 1-3-5, you would expect BaRRaCCuDDa to have at least some lead, but andinster, with all the focus he's putting on it, he's actually falling behind.
You saw some minions be dying to the tower there as well. I guess after these engagements, you commit looking for Snoopy, you miss farming the minions, the fight doesn't go your way off that, and then you have to base because you get out with 10 HP, that you end up losing farm a couple of times as well. But this game plan of Cloud9 is great. Let's try and focus Snoopy because we mentioned let's all buy Aegis and deal with BaRRaCCuDDa. But the problem is that TSM are well aware of that now, and they're like, okay, you're going to come in for Snoopy every time? Fine. We'll sacrifice him for the greater good. That's what seems to what happened, though. Like,
I mean,
may die once or twice.
Maybe Garz is literally just baiting Snoopy. He's like, nah, man, you're safe. No one's over there. He knows andinster's waiting around the corner, but BaRRaCCuDDa and Garz right now are responding very well to the aggressive andinster rotations.
Really quick rotations as well. Poseidon being used to, for the most part, his full effect in the mid lane. One of his best abilities that can be used wisely is the Trident, which will allow him to gain that extra movement speed, and he's really utilizing it, I feel, to get around the map a little bit quicker than the Zhong.
It's also keeping your passive up on Poseidon. You get 10% movement speed when your Tide is fully stacked, in addition to the Trident movement speed when that's activated, so it's very important to make sure that you're aware of your passive. Look at this, though. BaRRaCCuDDa is willingly getting zoned. He knows he cannot walk up there, especially after that counter ward came through.
There's not a lot he can do on that side, and I think with how the game's gone so far in terms of the golden experience and the fights that Cloud9 have been trying to force, TSM have responded to, it's now Cloud9 that are on the back foot really here. They have to just accept this.
You know, Cloud9 have been the aggressors non-stop, though. Every fight that has been started has realistically been started by andinster outside of stealth, getting a little bit too pushed up. Eonic, that's just going to be poke for the most
Looking to
part.
fight, though. I'm not sure if this is a good idea from Cloud9.
BaRRaCCuDDa took more poke than he gave to Eonic there.
Yeah, it should trade out for the most part. Build-wise, in those two as well, we do see that BaRRaCCuDDa just have DaGarz Gauntlets and Igval online.
Oh, my word.
Oh, are you looking at that?
I'm looking at that. We'll talk about that afterward, though. Team Solo Mid looks like they're going to be starting this up. Important to note, bchm right now has Gem of Isolation on Khepri, has a lot of dots in his kit. We'll have to see if this can affect the team fight.
It should, because it's going to slow him all down big time from
Only
Jeff.
a single taunt, though.
bchm, though, and he's going to get abducted back into danger zone. The Gold Fury's under threat. The Kraken comes out. The Suns are doing good work, but Cloud9 are doing okay for the time being. They did pick up BaRRaCCuDDa for free. The ultimate from Khepri is already down as well. As DaGarz crashes in on the backside, though, to start trading this one back out. Stealth is busy amongst the pigeons trying to do work, but he's getting crippled consistently by BaRRaCCuDDa.
That whirlpool locking 3 in place. Team Solo Mid, they secured the Gold Fury. They're trying to get out. MLC Stealth finds the BaRRaCCuDDa. DaGarz double tap, actually teleports to it. Berserker's Barrage finds one. Basket super low, getting a decent amount of damage off, but it's not enough. Cloud9, they lose 4, maybe 5 here as JeffHindla has rotated back in off of his back. Abduct's going to lock them in place. Nowhere to go. Dia side, Team Solo Mid walk away with the Gold Fury and 5 kills.
And the big thing there is I said one member down, this is going well for Cloud9, but I didn't realize the blessing was actually on the guy that died. BaRRaCCuDDa got killed, but then got revived by bchm immediately. Then the Kraken connected, which turned things around as well and just allowed him to keep putting the pressure out. Great fight for TSM, and you can see the golden experience going in their favor once more.
3,500 gold, 4,500 experience. Most notably on the junglers, I think is the big difference.
That's a big difference.
Literally everyone's even outside of Eonic having 2 levels, but it's the fact that andinster's level 15 to DaGarz is 18, and now DaGarz has Mail of Renewal online in this last fight. Look at the actives from Team Solo Mid. Every single slot is filled. Most players have them maxed out. Teleport for DaGarz, along with Beads 3. bchm, though, Shell and Teleport 2.
Looks like we're going to see 2 Heavenly Agilities here as well out of TSM. We've already got one completed from Eonic.
So much mobility.
Is that going to be do you reckon we'll see BaRRaCCuDDa do that Heavenly Agility as well, or will he just go for personal?
We could see a sprint. It gives him a little bit more movement speed for a little bit longer, but I think that having 2 Heavenlies on a team is way more useful. That's 10 seconds of that AoE movement speed buff.
And let's go back to bchm as well in the solo lane. People have mentioned about him only being able to play Sobek. He's 2-0-4 on Khepri, one of the newest gods in the game. He went Gem of Isolation. He got that very quick.
I love Gem.
He's so quick.
It is so disgusting. He's been farming very well. He's got teleport through. You know, he's invested actually 1,800 gold into actives alone, and still this far into his build at 20 minutes. Right now, bchm is farming so well, and the Gold Fury doesn't hurt that.
Doesn't hurt at all. They're going to pressure mid lane here, TSM, leaving Snoopy to 1v1 with BaRRaCCuDDa, which they'll be fine with for the time being. They can't really pressure mid lane, though, with how many Cloud9 people are around here. You'll see Baskin swinging in as well, but Cloud9, they're up against it at the moment.
MLC Stealth, big ultimate in that last engagement. These team fights, they're going on so long, but Cloud9, they really need to find the burst. It's so hard, though, against a Team Solo Mid roster who has a Geb Shield, a Khepri ult, damage reduction on the Khepri as well, knockups and stuns. Team Solo Mid, they are you guys are not killing any of our members' team, and it's really going to come down to Cloud9 getting the items online, getting the gold, so they can burst their opponents.
This is like, watching this game is like how TSM got their groove back. You know, this is how it feels like they're slightly getting there once again, that we saw the performances at LAN that were so strong. And then this season, it's been waneful for TSM fans. It's not been the greatest thing that they would have liked to have seen. They were expected bigger things, expected dominance for the most part. You know, they managed to get to the finals last time around at the LAN, but then season didn't work out for them. Roster swap comes in. Now things are starting to work out.
I mean, yeah, you look at it too, right? They're 13-11. 2 of their wins, however, were forfeit losses against Cloud9. Unfortunately, they weren't able to field a roster earlier in the split, so we haven't been able to see them face too many high-level opponents. They were able to take out Envy with this new roster recently, trading out games with them, and a very surprising factor. And now taking the lead against Cloud9 here.
It's almost like a rise from the ashes from them as well, because they got defeated by Elevate, don't forget. Elevate with a fantastic
Yeah, they came back with
there.
this new roster, the current roster, and lost to Elevate.
Yep, and now look at them. They're up against Cloud9 in a much more dominant position. They've started to get this composition working for them. Communications there quite clearly, and they're putting it down on Cloud9, who, let's be honest, Cloud9 were the aggressors this game, and TSM had the answers.
So far, Team Solo Mid up 13-6 in kills. Pace has slowed down a little bit. Cloud9, I think, happy with this. They really want to focus on farming and getting andinster, his Deathbringer, online. You can see he's got the Blink 1, so he's not able to really make use of it and gank Snoopy too often. As I speak of that, though, he's trying.
A little bit of pressure there, but Andinster well aware that the rotation will come in immediately. You see BaRRaCCuDDa then, just at the corner of the screen, coming over from the Gold Fury too, so you can see the rotation immediately responded every single time by TSM.
And Snoopy's found 4 deaths, actually. That is most of Cloud9 kills so far, as Baskin steals away the blue buff from bchm once again, but bchm is more than happy with that. He's got enough mana in his kit. Baskin going to take, or do a little bit of poke, and look at this, Winged Blade picked up for bchm.
And is that just to deal with the slows that are going to be coming out consistently from the team here?
It's one of the best utility items in the game, if not the best utility item. It gives you health, attack speed, which he doesn't really need, movement speed, cooldown reduction, and an incredible passive. Every 40 seconds, you immune a slow and get a movement speed buff. That's so good, especially against Zhong most notably.
bchm, good decision making in terms of itemization then, at least for this game that's working out for them. Cloud9 trying to slow this game down a little bit now, though. They were the aggressors, like we said a couple of times here. But now they realize that it's not going right for them, so let's slow it down and look to try and catch up a little bit in the experience in gold. Let's not go as aggressive, and TSM are quite happy to let them just farm out for now.
It seems to be the case. I mean, both these teams realistically want to get to late game. Team Solo Mid because they believe they can make the fights last long enough that they just come out on top regardless of the lack of damage in their gods. Cloud9, they want to get to late game so they can have andinster, have his 2 crit items online, so BaRRaCCuDDa can start swinging, and so that they could find the burst potential and make sure that the Khepri ult isn't properly utilized.
And you can see in terms of builds as well, TSM, because of the gold lead, they're starting to approach that 4th item completed here. Cloud9 trying to catch up with them, but mainly 3 items online. The only one that really is getting there, BaRRaCCuDDa, level 19.
And that's the attention that andinster's really put on that solo lane, and we mentioned it earlier, Snoopy was actually ahead in gold. Now the gold is even though Team Solo Mid was able to secure that Gold Fury. So, you know, BaRRaCCuDDa staying even thanks to the help of andinster, but andinster's fallen so far behind because even though they're finding the kills onto Snoopy, it almost always results in DaGarz and BaRRaCCuDDa finding 2 kills in return.
You know it's going to be an issue when crit starts coming online from Hunters. We're 25 minutes deep in this game. We've only really seen 1 Gold Fury go down. And for the most part, since then, it's been a lot of skirmishes that TSM have come out on top of, but no clear winner in this game yet.
Big grouping for both teams. 5 members of Team Solo Mid in the middle lane. Same with Cloud9. But you can see C9 not willing to fight. Gold Fury has just spawned. That seems to be the point that Team Solo Mid wants to start on.
Do they
Snoopy's going to
defend
pull it.
This?
Might just be trying to bait, however. I think they're just looking to see what Cloud9's going to do in response.
Oh, Jeff just going to hang around here for the most part. BaRRaCCuDDa did push up the left-hand side and trying to zone Snoopy away from some experience.
Oh, he's trying to fight Snoopy.
Oh, because he had that
he baited
backup. The backup bait was fantastic. BaRRaCCuDDa secures the kill. andinster and him combining nicely to pick up another kill on poor old Snoop, who's now 1 and 5.
And Cloud9, they're going to be starting up this Gold Fury. You can see 2 members playing zone duty for them. Baskin and BaRRaCCuDDa combining, trying to do the Gold Fury. andinster putting a lot of focus onto Eonic. Eonic still might be able to get in the middle of this.
But this might allow bchm to get through too. Cloud9 have reset the Gold Fury here, looking for Eonic, and they know his rollout is currently down. No taunt available for Jeff just yet. Eonic has to Cataclysm. They're going to abduct Baskin into a bad spot. Kraken was used there onto the big tank MLC, who didn't really go down. DaGarz gets a good Berserker barrage off, but nobody falls. Meanwhile, BaRRaCCuDDa able to solo the Gold Fury the whole time this goes on. It goes in the way of Cloud9.
They're able to get it. Eonic, he's going to be slowed down, taunted back into the team. Eonic more than likely to fall here as Baskin's looking to cut him off, but that wall perfectly in place, and BaRRaCCuDDa takes to the sky looking for Eonic. 1 auto should be enough, but no, he's focusing on the BaRRaCCuDDa. The res, it's on the wrong target. bchm picked the wrong target. Eonic's going to get out, but now bcm's in a bad spot. There's the gap shield. andinster still finds the kill. DaGarz blinks in, but he's taunted through the suns. Team Solo Mid trying to fight. MLC self stunned under tower. Snoopy finds the kill, but 3 dead on the side of TSM. Only stealth falling for Cloud9.
Only stealth falling. Oh, and Andy going back in on Snoopy one more time here. Jeff was in support, but they don't have any more follow-up. BaRRaCCuDDa, so just off to the side. Snoopy, watch out for the ricochets, because DaGarz here as well. They're going to find the ricochet combo.
No,
No, not this time. 10 to 14 is the scoreline. Let's check in with the graphs here as well, because Gold Fury went to Cloud9, and look at that, boy. We're all back even.
They were down Cloud9 was down 3,000 gold. They got 1,500 from the Gold Fury, and then responded with 3 kills. bchm, it's so hard to hit that, but look at this teleport coming through. DaGarz actually might be able to get locked down here. He's slow, but he has speed buff. He should be okay. Snoopy's walking out as well, unless BaRRaCCuDDa can chase him down.
Yeah, DaGarz should be out here. BaRRaCCuDDa looks like he wants to keep going. He feels like he can catch Snoopy, but the tower shots, gotta be careful about taking
he needs to be
careful.
careful.
Yeah, Garz and the double tap, it is available.
Garz was looking for it.
Especially with the build he's got too. Garz could really annihilate someone at 6-0 and 7.
He's got Mail of Renewal online, but most of the gold advantage he spent has been on that. He's still got Jotuns, he's still got Boots 3, and he still has Titan's Bane. His double tap is swinging.
After 28 minutes in the game, we're all even in terms of experience and gold. This is what you expect out of the top teams in North America, and it's a good sign for regionals.
This is like the prelude to regionals is phenomenal in week 9, and we have great games in week 10 as well, with the 1 and 4 seeds facing off and the 2 and 3 seeds from the back from the beginning of the split facing off again. I mean, honestly, this may be the first time at Super Regionals where I'm like, there is no clear favorite.
I don't know who's going from anywhere. I think the only one team out of NA and EU that could call is probably Epsilon.
Epsilon, I will give you that. Envy, I can't even call right now.
Well, Envy's been on a bit of a slump, let's be honest. They've not...
This might be the best time for them to have a slump, too.
Eager's on the uprise, but then Cloud9 and TSM are looking pretty
I don't know, Eager lost
too.
2-0 to Enemy yesterday.
But then TSM lost 2-0 to Elevate.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Well, I'm just saying, but I'm saying, like, all the teams are really tight here.
This is
anyone could take
regionals
it.
are going to be insane. We've decided almost every single team sans Denial and Myrmidons if they can find something in this last week. Right now, though, Team Solo Mid versus Cloud9. Historically, Team Solo Mid has the lead at 11 wins to 10 wins. Cloud9 and Team Solo Mid, they're just back and forth all the time.
History's only one thing, though, Adonis, but you're only as good as your last game. Only as good as your last game, and right now, well, whoever wins this one is going to have the advantage, that's for sure, going into Game 2 and looking for that third spot to take them into Eager's side of the bracket.
Andinster once again focusing on this left-hand side. He's going to walk right over a ward, though, and you can see the rotation on the minimap right now. BaRRaCCuDDa and GaRz trying to cut him off. Andinster's real deep in the jungle.
Yeah,
he needs to be careful.
Real deep too there. Now Andy's going to try and swing
already.
back. Has to be gets out with all the mobility he does. And it should be okay for now, but like you said, beads were used.
Beads 3. If Team Solo Mid want to force a fight, they know who to focus down. But it seems like they're playing pretty defensive with stealth rotating over.
Beads 3, 90 seconds. It's not that much. It's quite a short period of time. So you can just back away, farm up again, play safe
and that seems to be what it's going to happen. And I don't think we'll see Andinster be too aggressive until that time happens. So I do want to talk, right? We talked about how powerful Gem of Isolation is on this Khepri.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I thought Stealth was going into it as well, but he's actually picked up the Ethereal Staff to combine with his Warlocks.
With a Warlocks as well, that's revolting.
It's
like we saw BaRRaCCuDDa.
It's so good.
BaRRaCCuDDa earlier on, full Kraken stealth to the back of his head, and the Kraken tickled him.
Can we highlight Zhong right now, because he's probably approaching 300 health.
Let's find out.
Or 3,000. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Well, he's not approaching 3,000.
It's more than 300, Kevin. That's the first thing I want to say.
He's approaching 3,500 health. That's how. Oh my word!
And if we tune in with Poseidon for a second, let's just see how much a Kraken will do at this stage of the game. A little look at that one. So he is level 20.
In the center, 340 plus 60% of his magical power. How much magical power does he have?
It's not even going to be half his health.
That's like a quarter.
It's not even going to be half.
That's going to tickle him.
In the jungle again, though, on the left-hand side, aggression. They're
Stealth's
looking for
in trouble.
Stealth is in trouble, but we said how tanky he was with Athena coming in on top of him. And there's a shell as well.
GaRz is in the sky, though.
Pick him up. GaRz is in the sky. GaRz is down from the sky. And Stealth finally does fall down to the BaRRaCCuDDa. We mentioned the Kraken.
Oh, that timing, though. Look at that. The Gold Fury screeching through. She's just spawning as well. Baskin, he's going to try and play defense here. BaRRaCCuDDa split pushing, though.
BaRRaCCuDDa split pushing mid. They can't just do Gold Fury with BaRRaCCuDDa. Might go for a tier 2.
I mean, they could, right? This is Cloud9, I think, are going to take this. With that player down, with Stealth dead, they don't want to fight this. They're just going to have BaRRaCCuDDa focus the tier 2, but DaGarz and Eonic aren't going to let him.
BaRRaCCuDDa's got ult here as well. GaRz is going to chase him around for the jungle for a while. Andy and Baskin, they're going to switch over to the right side, look for the tier 1. They're going to give up the Gold Fury, though, so TSM get the third Gold Fury of the game. They're second.
They've now taken the gold lead back, not by much, though. This tier 1 on right going to go down. Only a couple hits to take it. Nope, not going to do it yet.
Well, he thought the minions would have done it for him, but then, you know, GaRZ is there to soak it up, make sure it's not a bonus goal for the team for the time being.
Snoopy on the left-hand side, he's going to be pressuring his own tier 1. BaRRaCCuDDa actually ulting over Athena. Her ult is down, so there's not going to be a double global, but BaRRaCCuDDa, he wants to fight Snoopy.
Doesn't find the Mez, but he's going to get some decent damage off with the So Beautiful.
I think it's over.
The crit hit. One more crit, that could be big. Just out of range, don't dive that, BaRRa.
It's a lot of poke, though.
It was a lot of poke, but Snoopy was quite wise just to continue walking away. He didn't want to leap unless he really had to, it felt like. bchm, though, over here now, got to try and defend this purple buff. And you need to be careful because he's got that gem of isolation, but the crit damage from BaRRaCCuDDa is really making an impact here.
They're both, yeah, I mean, look at these. BaRRa RNG is just swinging. He has, he does have tier 2, though, of Deathbringer as well, so that's why he's got that bonus crit percentage, and Rage's passive also factoring into that, so it's understandable. I thought he just had Rage, so I was like, how is he critting this often?
And Baskin will finally get that down the tier 1 on the right-hand side there, and he's actually going to steal away the blue
I think
buff
this is like the third or fourth time he's stolen away this blue buff.
But that's what Baskin needed to do against bchm, right?
Yeah,
but
I mean, bchm doesn't even need the blue buff.
But
He doesn't care.
bchm's been more of an impact in the fight so far than Baskin has on this Khepri.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's just the fact that he is a Khepri. He provides damage reduction, roots, pools, and as well as a revive on the Scarab's Blessing. Baskin, however, he's going this anti-ADC build, which I actually really like. He's going to look to focus out Snoopy in these engagements. Not only does he have a lot of physical protection, but he's got kin size and also the height of the Nemean.
So it's going to reflect damage back at his opposition. And to be fair, it's going to be against andinster and
look at this grouping in the jungle. Baskin might get caught out here. He's the focus. He's pretty tanky, though, against physical. May not survive a crack, and Athena ulting on top of him.
Yeah, they do get the Athena roll, which is going to be key to keep
also half of Baskin's life.
And look where bchm was zoning out stealth and rotating through the mid lane here as well. They're trying to pressure down the left-hand side here, TSM. They should get the tier 1 towers. You can see BaRRaCCuDDa has also backed away, and TSM slowly creep deeper into the jungle.
I think Stealth has baited himself with his own Zhong pick because a lot of times he's in some positions that he's been picked out. Once again, in the jungle against 3, but he's actually zoning pretty well. Only andinster in a 2v3 fight. Stealth trying to rotate, gonna get caught off and poked out.
Stun is also down from him as well, as you can see. Andis has to jump away, but Eonic
Heavenly popped.
Up. They're looking for stealth.
Aegis
has been used. BaRRa jumps into the backside alone. BaRRa, be careful, my friend. The sun's still raining down from Snoopy. They're trying to pick up a kill onto Stealth, who's popped the ghost on the front side, but he's still alive for now. Meanwhile, on the back, the Kraken comes out, knocks Baskin for a loop, but he doesn't fall down. The ultimate was on Snoopy. He will survive thanks to the help of Khepri's Blessing, and still they're going in.
Look at how low Team Solo Mid is. andinster leaps to the back. He gets one more auto. Is he going to be able to pick it up? He does. 3 kills for andinster. Cloud9, how are they surviving? Basket finds one. Snoopy able to find a return kill, but deicide for Cloud9, only losing andinster in that engagement. Somehow, they're heading straight to the Fire Giant, and that's what we were talking about. Team Solo Mid, all their damage is so reliant on TheBoosh's Kraken, and it just tickled Cloud9. Did nothing, and if Snoopy is focused out, no damage for Team Solo Mid to kill anyone.
Hit 2 members, but the shell was used, and it was on the tankier targets. They didn't get deleted like they wanted him to, and then what we saw after that was Cloud9 cleaned up beautifully from that engagement. All even with the, you can see how low their health is right now, Adonis. It was so low that they just juggled aggro so well in the team fights to stay alive. Beautiful play, beautiful fight from Cloud9, and they get the reward of the Fire Giant.
As well as a tier 2, and actually, it's going to be a Phoenix. I love this. This is such a veteran play. Baskin and Stealth, they split push. They know that Athena and BaRRaCCuDDa on his Apollo can take the Fire Giant with just those 2. They're even stealing away the back harpies. Let's take a look at the grass real quick. 4,200 swing in favor of Cloud9.
Look at the story of the game. Early on, Cloud9 go aggressive. TSM punish him. Early on again, Cloud9 go aggressive. TSM punish him harder. Then all of a sudden, Cloud9 hold out, wait patiently, and then all of a sudden, they're back in this game.
BaRRaCCuDDa dove into 5 players and walked out unscathed.
I don't know about that one.
The Suns came down. You could see Stealth.
The distraction worked,
They put
I guess.
this build on Stealth. It's so tanky. Team Solo Mid invests so much into him every single fight. And, you know, earlier on, they were able to find the picks, and it was phenomenal. But now that he has 3,500 health, it is not easy to kill a Zhong, who also has an Aegis 3 and a Heavenly.
He used the Aegis 3 before that engagement.
Yes,
I want to take that out into account as well,
correct.
because he didn't even have that and somehow still lived.
He was running in the fight in a circle. just trying to get the ghost off at as many players. And you know what? bchm had the dream, right? He ulted Snoopy. Snoopy was able to get his full life and then a full second life, and still Team Solomid, they did not have the damage. Cloud9.
Shout out to Jeff and some of those taunts in the fight, because they've been huge for this one. Let's see what they can do now, TSM, because they're up against it now themselves. Cloud9 have been the ones on the back foot, but now they're taking the advantage with the Fire Giant. They're going to take a tier 2. Only one of those remaining on the map now for TSM. And do you expect TSM just to weather the storm here and just hold at Phoenixes and hope for the best?
For me, I think they're going to be defending the Phoenixes, but Cloud9 making sure that they played incredibly safe. They still have a good amount of time on the Fire Giant, but they're not ready to push the Phoenixes yet. Take the free gold on the map, take the Gold Fury. There's still a tier 2 and right, and then your buffs are all up. I don't think we'll see C9 pressure a Phoenix just yet. Yeah, they're going to backspin their gold and then take their buffs.
Hey, full builds are on the way for most players on both sides, but Cloud9 looks like they will hit first of all for the most part in terms of builds.
Zhong going to be backing. I think he has enough in hand to finish off that Rod of Tahuti once he sells that Vampiric Shroud. Stealth, there it goes. Rod picked up. Let's take a look at his magical power, because it is probably swinging close to 550 plus 624.
Ouch. Ouchies, indeed. And now, Fire Giant still online for a little bit longer, so they could look to push in the tier 2 town, just pick that one up for themselves. They're going to clear up the buffs in the jungle first of all. Gold Fury already taken, as we saw, so they're going to get it. And they're actually going to give the red buff over to BaRRaCCuDDa there?
So BaRRaCCuDDa, actually taking a look at his build, has a decent amount of attack speed, and it appears he doesn't want to increase his damage with attack speed. He wants to make sure when he crits, he is critting hard. Apollo actually has attack speed in his own kit based on the passive. Once Audacity is activated, he will actually be close to cap, so he just wants to make sure that his auto attacks are critting close to 1,000, if not over.
Well, it was doing 934 to the Gold Fury.
470 autos right now.
A lot of damage there, but now they're going to siege the left-hand side here, wanting to get the Phoenix here
50
with the
seconds
Fire
on their Fire Giant. This is the time.
How much can they get out of it? The root comes out from bchm. Not going to dissuade them for a while, but the poke on the minions will help them clear. Jeff quite happy to find a big taunt onto 2. No one's panicking with bees just yet, but there's a big cataclysm and the suns are down. They're looking at stealth, but Abduct's on the backside onto Jeff. Unfortunately from bchm, not going to find the target they're looking for. Meanwhile, look at stealth in amongst the pigeons once again.
The Kraken
everywhere.
The Kraken's huge. Snoopy finds a kill. Kraken knocked up too. bchm, he's still alive. Damage reduction coming through. Stealth, the only one to die. Cloud9 did manage to secure the Phoenix. Now they're heading over to the middle Phoenix, but Team Solomid, they're fresh. They have no ultimates. No one has any ultimates, but Cloud9's been split. Eonic doesn't want to chase on to Baskin. Team Solomid, it seems like they will hold for now.
But how well does that hold mean for them? Because they lost the Phoenix for stealth. They got stealth, that was it. But the Phoenix still falls. The mid Phoenix
Cloud9, I think, are happy with that trade. Cloud9 are happy with that trade.
Do you go Fire Giant now as TSM? Because
it's not going to spawn in time. You take a look. Fire Giant spawning 45 seconds, Stealth in 30. Stealth will actually be able to walk to Fire Giant, or just be short of it just as it spawns. I expect that to be the next point of contention, but right now, Team Solomid, with that Phoenix down, someone has to keep up with that wave.
Now let's go back to Apollo. Apollo is in this game, and BaRRaCCuDDa so far, he's having a pretty good game. Full build, probably the first out of everybody in this. And he's got the opportunity just to sit in duo lane.
Did he have Deathbringer that last fight?
He did.
Oh, wow.
He could sit in duo lane all day long here and push the fire minions all the way down. If he does that, someone has to come back to defend, otherwise he could end it, right?
That's a possibility for now, though. He's going to grab attack speed buff and back. He actually might have enough gold for 400 and, yep. He's going to pop his 450 potion, giving him 20 bonus physical power and pick up some wards, and it's going to be a lot of vision control.
I'd love to see Cloud9 just siege up the Fire Giant and send BaRRa off to the left-hand side. And the moment someone shows up to defend, swing over there with the ultimate. Actually, you can see 2 teleports on the side of TSM here. DaGarz opting for the teleport as well, so we can make these rotations to defend against.
I think that's what we'll see. I think we actually will see Garz be the one to defend, but it doesn't look like BaRRaCCuDDa is even going to risk split pushing and have his team die before he can make the rotation.
Very good point. And now Jeff going to look down this little avenue and look for a taunt if he can find it onto potentially bchm. Looking for more targets than that.
Jeff,
there you go.
No one in position, though, to follow up on that taunt. Geb shield down. They actually, Cloud9 could engage on this, but it's actually JeffHindla going to be pinched out here.
Jeff's very, very tanky.
He's still fine.
He's very, very tanky up front, and now the engagement as well. Baskin going deep. Eagles rally onto Snoopy's head. You can see the beads were forced on 2. Andy's in there too, trying to put the pressure onto the boost. They're looking for the him. The Kraken does go down, but BaRRaCCuDDa on the backside annihilated one as Baskin dunked in for the second. Talking about dunks, Garz comes down and takes out BaRRaCCuDDa. The Ghostbusters are here though. MLC Stealth is putting the hurting on, forcing the boys at TSM away, and only bchm can stand, but not for long.
bchm, he's got his Scarab's Blessing. He actually didn't use it, and 2 players had died. He's going to revive. Taunt from from Jeff, finds two. There's the stun. Stealth looking for GaRZ. He's slowed. Bickham, though, finds Baskin, who went so deep. Andinster on pretty low health. The two Guardians on Team Solo Mid are trying to fight 2v3. Andinster takes a tower shot, jumps back in. One more hit scare. Oh, the Rising Dawn doesn't connect.
GaRZ is finally here with the teleport. He went back to base. He picks up the kill on Andinster. And LC Stealth does annihilate Eonic with the exorcism. But GaRZ is trying to beat down the Zhong as hard as he can. The Aegis by Stealth for another second to get back towards the exorcism again. Takes out Bickham. Finally, Zhong dies. Raid boss down.
There's no mana on Jeff. Does he have enough to dash?
Alive.
No, he does, but GaRZ is going to give it up. Oh, my word. 4 kills on both sides. GaRZ and JeffHindla.
It's a damn bloodbath
to stay alive.
Meanwhile, fire minions pouring down left-hand side. The Titan is below half HP now as well. With the fire minions still continuing to come on. The Phoenix is due to respawn, though, so TSM have held. The fire giant is still alive, but that was a hell of a bloodbath.
You know, Snoopy and BaRRaCCuDDa both died with Scarab's Blessing still up.
But was it because of position he couldn't get in range for it? Was
I'm not sure. It seemed like I think he just kind of got stunned at the perfect time. I mean, he doesn't have beat, so if he's stunned at the time, that could be Cloud9's plan. Lock down Bickham with some stuns or CC, and then burst the targets they needed. That looked to be Cloud9 was going to win. I thought Cloud9 had won that game.
I thought they did too, but Bickham managed to hold on at the end there after.
Bickham and Eonic 2v3'd Cloud9 and allowed GaRZ to back and teleport into that tower.
They held them off, is what I want to say. I don't think they 2v3'd Bickham.
No, they 2v3'd.
You know, they picked up Baskin, and that was it. They were going to fight.
Hey man, you 2v3'd. You pick up a kill as Guardians under 5 or 10% health.
Okay.
You got to give them credit.
43 minutes in this game. Fire Giant is available again. Cloud9 got the last one. Can TSM answer back again? They've found the answers to defending for now. All their Phoenixes are alive again. Titan is now regenning, and you can see that TSM are the ones around the Fire Giant. The Kraken was good from BaRRaCCuDDa last time, but
oh, it's great.
It's still not enough.
It's just here's the thing, right? Cloud9, you know, they had the dream. That was game. They locked down the 2 hard carries on Team Solo Mid, BaRRaCCuDDa and Snoopy, at the beginning of the fight.
What do we see that BaRRaCCuDDa as this last item here? He's 2 into it. It looks like
Ethereal. It's the only option.
Not Soul Reaver?
I'm assuming he just wants to be tanky. I mean, you saw what happened, right? BaRRaCCuDDa is continuously getting dove. He needs to have the sustain to live through these fights. Right now, he's sitting on, 2,200 health.
And talk about diving that whole fight. Snoopy and BaRRaCCuDDa were together trying to run away for their lives, and the boys of Cloud9 were just beating him down like, come on, let's go after him, and chased them both into a really bad situation.
Both these teams, though, going to be pretty wary here for this next fight.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Cloud9, if they win the fight, they automatically win. Team Solo Mid, it's a little bit different because there are still towers left up. They could potentially push in, but those towers might be enough to hold them at bay.
Can it hold them at bay? Jeff loves that little alleyway there as an Athena player. He'll be looking for the taunts as they funnel themselves through, and there's one onto Snoopy. Immediately responded by Eonic with the shield knockup, and the root comes out from Bickham as well. Bit of damage onto JeffHindla from the protections given. MSC Stealth has been pinged, but look at this. Jeff's going in with Baskin, looking deep on the backside. BaRRaCCuDDa's in the sky. Don't look at Bickham. Where's BaRRa going to go in for? He's coming back down to the safety of his team. But Jeff's in a world of hurt there. Going to get pulled back into trouble again. Eonic's on zone duty, looking to pick Jeff. DaGarz has gone to the sky finally. Where's he going to dunk?
Look at this shell. 3 members of Cloud9 grouped up. GaRZ has it. Come crashing down. There it is. It's on a stealth. He's under half-life, but Andinster in the backline. He's looking for Snoopy. Can he pick him up? He does, but the res coming out. TheBoosh finds Andinster in response. They're fighting under the tier 2 tower. Looking at Eonic. He pick up their solo. Cloud9. It popped!
Stealth turned around and managed to get away from that. GaRZ is the last man standing for TSM, and the tier 2 tower is not going to hold back Cloud9 and their 3 members left. BaRRaCCuDDa.
Is that game?
Full health and mana. Of course it's game. How can that one man? He's a great performance, GaRZ, but he can't hold off against a BaRRaCCuDDa full build hunter.
JeffHindla and Stealth alive as well. Stealth going to be able to heal up off of this. 2 Phoenix under half-life. JeffHindla looks for the oh, but he misses just barely. No one spawning for Team Solo Mid for 40 seconds. Left side Phoenix still remaining. Cloud9 is going to focus on the full health Phoenix on the right.
They're going to win. Relax. What it is just push the minions into. They don't want to make a mistake and let GaRZ do some crazy shenanigans that he can do on Thor. Let's just bring some minions in to support us. BaRRaCCuDDa's got the damage to end this one out. Cloud9 should take game 1 here against TSM after an epic epic battle.
Titan on 4,000. GaRZ comes crashing down, stunned out. Nothing for him to do. Cloud9 come out on top just barely, though. The last two team fights were incredibly close. Andinster dives into that engagement and actually dies, but what he does is he gets last breath off, and I didn't even notice it at first. It actually popped twice, I believe, in that fight. When I said it popped, I didn't even realize that last breath was still on someone.
Crazy backwards and forwards fight right at the beginning of the game, though. TSM were the ones with the advantage in this game to begin with. Roll it all the way back. Andy was going aggressive in the duo lane, but TSM found the answers to it all the time.
Andinster, he was putting so much focus on Snoopy, who was, you mentioned it, maybe 20 minutes in, 1 in 5. But then the return kills from the DaGarz and TheBoosh, they would lose Snoopy and then pick up 2. And that's actually first blood.
First blood was DaGarz, yeah.
Snoopy just barely escaping out of this one.
The original beginning of the game of the gank attempt from Cloud9 that it went over to TSM, and this was it. We saw Snoopy get out just about with Eonic's help. It was all Eonic, honestly, that helped to get out. But DaGarz was there for cleanup crew, and that was very important. One quick play, and he picks up a double.
Yeah, 2 kills there, and you could see really them continue kind of the same story for the first 20 minutes where Andinster would gank Snoopy, lock him down, make sure BaRRa stayed either even or ahead of him, and then DaGarz and TheBoosh would come crashing down, responding with fantastic rotations. And then heading into late game scenario, Team Solamid, they had the advantage. They had the 3,000 gold lead. They were pushing into the jungle of Cloud9, and then everything just went wrong. They just didn't have the damage to kill the targets.
Didn't work out for them. Top performers, though, let's have a look at Alpha Draft. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a mixture of a team.
GaRZ, Eonic sneaking onto the top. GaRZ actually the top performer on the losing team. Has that happened before?
I don't think I've seen it that high before, but I believe it was like 10-1 and 9 or something in that game.
He was 13 points above Andinster.
He died once at the end there. It's almost like an MVP NA team. That when you look at it, it's like, oh, the best of the best. Good work from all those players there as well. But I don't think you'd be too upset if you had any of those 10 players in your Alpha
I'm sure they all got their fair of points. BaRRaCCuDDa, though, player of the game. We saw him be able to stay relevant early on with the high pressure Andinster put onto that lane, but then coming into the team fights, phenomenal performance from him, finding the targets he needed. For me, though, was the fact that when Team Solamid were pressuring into Cloud9's jungle, he landed in the middle of 5 and just walked out untouched.
You say for you, though, you were happy with that. For me, I was like, that was ballsy, risky, and could have thrown a game.
But Cloud9 didn't have the
But he got away. He got away.
Team Solamid.
The main thing is he got away. That's what you need in this game. If you get away, you're fine. It's cool. If you don't get away, well, you made a mistake. But anyway, this was a good play from him where he dunks on the backside.
bchm actually ults the wrong target.
Well, I don't think he was ulting the wrong target because when BaRRaCCuDDa I think BaRRaCCuDDa
he ulted him over the wall.
BaRRa baited
You're right.
Because Eonic was the low health target there, and I guess he thought that BaRRa was going to go for it, and it ended up swinging even bigger in Cloud9's favor because of that.
You were 100% right. I didn't notice. I thought it was like as soon as he dashed on Poseidon, but it was actually over the wall before BaRRa had dashed in. So that game, though, such a great performance from both teams. I'd say Team Solamid really developing. That was an Envy-style team comp.
Here's the thing. TSM, this next game that we're going to see them play, do we keep the same sort of roster and maybe switch out the Poseidon? Do you feel the Poseidon was the issue just because of damage potential?
I wouldn't necessarily say the Poseidon itself. Maybe, right? It's just they didn't have enough burst on their team.
Perfect.
Running the double Guardians is good, but I feel like you need a stronger hyper carry in the jungle. DaGarz, don't get me wrong. Well, you're right. And I don't know, right? But you take a look, right? So DaGarz dives into the back line.
The guy goes 10-1 and 9. We need to stronger
Put it this way. No, seriously, look at it.
You're not
right?
DM's team.
Thor does a lot of AoE damage and a lot of individual lockdown for the first 15 to 20 minutes. But he can't just blow up a target in under a second once we get to the 30-minute mark.
But isn't that worth replacing the Poseidon, which was
I think the
avoidable damage?
I think it's Thor. I think both of them, right? You can't have both of them. There's very few mages that are also going to bring more than Poseidon in that regard in burst.
Nuwa,
maybe.
There you go.
Especially in those corridor fights. I'm just saying. Andinster was every single fight in the late game was able to jump to the back line and kill Snoopy or Boosh or force out their actives instantly, and they got blown up.
True, but then you've still got the Khepri and the Geb that should be supporting that and peeling for them.
I don't know. Those fights went on for a long time.
I ain't blaming Thor. I'm definitely not blaming DaGarz for that performance.
I'm not blaming anyone.
Yeah, you are. Don't lie to me. Good.